Hi, my name is VX. Today, I'd like to take a deep dive into my first ever album called VX, and the track is called Genesis. I want to show you exactly how it's been produced, how it's been mixed, and how it's been mastered. So, come with me into Ableton Live so we can check it out together. Okay, so now that we are here in the project of Genesis, I would like to talk a little bit about sound selection and what my thought process was behind the track. So, my general idea of the track was to start off with a bang, like something you would hear in I don't know, an arena of some sort, or like an action movie scene, or kind of, it really ended off as like almost like a nightclub scene that you would find in some kind of cyberpunk movie or the Cyberpunk 2077 game. And I think it came out well. So let's just take a listen to the starting chords. Really soft, really pretty simple. You got your minor chord right there. And then there's that. I don't know what it's called, sorry. So that kind of repeats until 32 measures. Then you have the reverse of this. So let's hear this really quick. And that is so pretty to me. I think I'm a genius for that. But I might be biased. So what this does is that's the sort of kind of like tiny little melody I put in there. But then I took this, turned it into audio, reversed that audio into this line you see here, and added a whole bunch, well, not really a whole bunch of effects, but a lot of randomness to it. So if I were to ever play this live, I would open up this project, possibly. I don't really know how DJing works, but I would figure that I'd open this project and this would be slightly different. This line would be slightly different each time. And that comes with, or is due to the fact, rather, by this plugin called Erosion. And it's basically like your standard bit crusher. Sorry, that's my dog, if you can hear them. Erosion is your standard bit crusher, bit reducer plugin that Ableton comes with. It's a stock plugin, but it works great. And I use not one, but 3 different LFO tools to modulate the frequency, width, and amount to sort of make it that random reversed line that is here, and turn it into this. So again, turn this to audio, reversed it, loaded it up with different modulated erosion effects. So let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at it solo. Okay, so let's take a look at these together. I love how that flows into the main melody. And so when this line is done, it goes completely silent for this amount of time. What is that? 2 bars. I could have looked up at the top here, but I decided not to for some reason. So this is a silence of 2 bars. So let's just take a listen to this really quick. This period before the silence. Okay, so in this whole section of chords right here, the filter opens up. Let's take a look at the envelope really quick. The filter cutoff, right here. So it stays here at 1442, and it goes from 1442 all the way up to 20,000. So that's the fullest extent. And we see it completely open here. You get a tiny little audible glimpse of what this sounds like. And then, let's take those away. So let's listen to this last measure or so. Get silence for the most part, but then this. I really wanted this to hit you in the face like an absolute truck, and it did. It worked out pretty well. So let's take a look at these couple parts. So this is just your standard noise riser, nothing crazy, no effects on there, nothing. I love that part. I think it's so sick. So what I did here is I took the wavetable. Let's open up Pigments actually really quick. I took the wavetable portion right here and cranked up the detune to 50. I really wanted it to sound dirty going into this main lead part, and I think it worked out really well. And it just stops. It cuts off. This whole line here cuts off. I'll show you that in a second. So we're going to take a look at that part. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. It's just a bass going down an octave, sliding down an octave. It goes, and that's pretty sweet. Take a look at this bass. I can't remember. It sounds like it does a little. It goes from perfect note, slides down an octave, and then kind of goes up slightly right here. Let's take a look at that again. Almost goes up a half note. Maybe. I can't remember. But what's this? Okay, well, I guess all together. Let's take a listen to these 3. Hold on. Let me see if I remember. No, it's not it. This. Solo. So you got your different basses. I'm not sure exactly why I did this. It works. It's really nice and thick and fat. Whatever that means. It's producer talk nowadays. But you got your standard sub bass right there. And let's take a listen to this again really quick before taking a look at the main lead line. Never mind. I am not that bright. Okay, let's play it again. Alright, so that is the build-up before the main lead line. So let's take a look at the lead line for a second. So it is your standard sawtooth waveform with another sawtooth waveform underneath it as an octave underneath it. And not quite sure why I didn't put this at full volume, but you know, it's whatever. Design choices. And let's see, it's just, yeah, a standard sawtooth waveform, normal octave below it. What does normal octave mean? Your main note. I don't remember what note that is. It's a D sharp 3, right? Yeah. Wait, let me see. I'm not the brightest. No, it's not a D sharp. I was mistaken. It is a D3. No. No, no, I'm dumb. It was a D3. Anyway, 8 voices, detuned by 1.5%, stereo at 20. Let me just shut up so we can take a listen to this thing. It's very difficult to do this because I hate interrupting my own music. But we have these chords coming back. These are the same exact chords as this right here. Pretty sure, right? Yeah, that was right. So these chords come back. They're completely open. There's no filter on them. Okay, let's bring in the melody for this thing. Sorry to tease you there. Let's take a look at, well, before this, taking a look at this part. So this is just the lead line, another frozen in place, oh my gosh, my dog. Another frozen in place white noise thing, riser, and the chords just going directly into the bass line. So let's take, there's 3 different parts of this bass, so let's take a look at the top part. It gets real dirty right here. And the filter, I think. Let's take a look at this thing. Maybe it's open the entire time. I'm not sure. Okay, so yeah, we're cranking the drive into the drop. This is kind of like the pre-drop, I guess you could call it. So this is the main drop right here. When this little part of the beginning melody enters and the kick comes in. So we're cranking everything up here. We're also cranking everything down there. Let's take a look at the under bass, I guess you could call it. We're doing a lot of modulation here. Never mind. This was still that thing. Okay. This is that. Here's the under bass. So this is a little bit of reverb on here. This is the sub. So this is really doing the hard work. Wow, it's just, yeah, it's just doing that. Not really much, to be honest. Just a simple sine wave. I don't know why I have low pass 36 on here. Yeah, I really don't know why. That's strange. We'll just go to the initial state. Whatever. So this is a F11. Yeah, this is just making sure. This is a copy. Whenever I'm going to be doing a breakdown on the stuff, I will be doing copies and then breaking down the copy, because I don't want to mess with something and alter the original master. That would kind of suck. I don't want to lose those tracks forever, because I feel like even if it's slightly altered, even just by 1 hertz or 1 hertz on a filter, I would hate it. My OCD would kill me. So all together, we're going to take a look at these 3 basses. Alright, so enough with the talk, let's get into the drop. That's just the same little, well, both of those together. Same thing as this, just put here to signal the drop. Standard noise riser, nothing special there. Alright, so let's just hear the drop. Wow, I am not bright. I can't see much of this whole thing from this point onwards here. I'm on an ultra widescreen monitor, by the way. I have a Samsung Odyssey G9. If you don't know what it is, go look it up. It's 49 inches long. I think it's 27 inches high, so it's a very weird aspect ratio. That's probably, oh, my mouse, sorry. It's probably why you're seeing such a weird aspect ratio in this YouTube video. But my PC is sitting at the edge of my desk, and I cannot see crap. I'm basically looking I'm looking at this stuff through tiny little vents in the back of the PC. I don't have enough space to put my PC right now, so on my desk it sits, and I can't see crap. I can see noise effects, and then everything underneath here is just bits and pieces. So, excuse my idiocy, whatever, you know what I mean. Okay, so let's listen to the actual drop. Open those filters slowly. Come on. There we go. Got some nice side chain in there. Bring in that same melody as before. Slowly bringing these hi-hats, which were also made in Figments. They're just noise hats. This is different right here. This section is different from this section right here. Opening the filters. Got the delay on the high-end version of the bass. Having this ring out. Having the standard freeze. There, I guess. We have the hi-hats opening up. Fun fact, I think, I'm not mistaken, I should know this, but I don't remember quite well, that all of the hi-hats in my entire first album are made from the synth. It's just all these oscillators are turned off, so you're not hearing anything. It's an analog version, or the analog type engine, whatever, into the Pigment software. No notes are playing, and the, let's see, white noise output 0 dB. Let's see, why is this? Yeah, it's just a normal noise hi-hat. I think my entire album is made from all the hi-hats that are in each track. It's all through Pigments. So, let's take a look at the clap. This is a very interesting clap. So, if I'm not mistaken, this was made a while back, like a million years ago for me at least. So again, if I'm not mistaken, this clap is actually a click from a mouse. I don't know if it's this mouse that I have currently in my hand, but it might be. Or it might have been an older mouse. Can't really remember, but it's a mouse click. And I think that's pretty sweet. So what I did with it, I just put some wider on there, 200%. I just cranked the crap out of this thing. Put a little bit of reverb on there, and called it a day, honestly. This is the whole thing. Yeah, I did that. That's a thing. So let's get into, let's listen to the break right here. Just break down. Alright, so you have this whole thing right here repeated from this section. We have this interesting thing. A little bit of a noise sort of effect with some auto panning, some cut off modulation from the LFO. I'm using LFO 1. 22 hertz, actually 0.022 hertz, so which is real slow. One of that nice dramatic effect. It kind of sounds ghostly, and I think it's pretty cool. This right here, this pad, is probably one of my favorite sounds that I've ever made. I don't know how I came up with it. I just called it this. I called it otherworldly static, excuse me. And I'll just let you listen to it. It's so sweet when you hear it isolated. It's just that for how many bars? 64 bars. 64! But this is all with this, okay? So, let's listen to this. So it's literally just the beginning, but with 2 sets of ambient noises, ambience, whatever you want to call it. And I just repeat this entire section right here as it was in the beginning. You've already heard it, I can move past it, so we'll get back to the... Actually, this is the exact same as well. This whole thing right here, I just copied and pasted it. Wow, electronic music. Copying and pasting. Who would have thought? So we're again back to this portion, but moved all the way over here. And the only thing that's added was this noise riser too. So let's take a listen to that. difference between this section right here and this section right here is the fact that, while yes, these chords come back, they make their return, I have just the plain old open bass hit. I gotta look past my PC. Wait, fold it. Ah, yeah, this is a piece of audio. Okay, so let's just play with this. This tiny piece right here makes this area so much more. It gives a lot of oomph, if that makes any sense. It gives it some balls. It doesn't give it balls if you just play it by itself. My bad. Again, I just keep hitting wrong buttons. My bad. Okay, here's all of that together. Take 1 million. Shut up, dog. This was entirely a good idea to repeat this, or not to repeat it, but to repeat it, I guess. This section, well, at least this section right here, is the same as the beginning section and the middle breakdown section. I don't really know what you call it. I don't know song structure names. I should get better at that. I'm producing music and I'm making tutorials on YouTube, so I should educate myself for sure. But anyway, moving past that, I introduced this back in here and I changed the bass up. So let's listen to the bass. You've heard it. Let's take a listen to this again. So that's pre-middle part. Let's take a look at this part again. Or this part. No, not again. Alright, let's take a look. Alright, so with this added, it gives it a totally different vibe. Almost more, still higher, still high energy, but it's changed almost more to a cooler sort of vibe. I hate that stupid vibe word, but I'll just use it for now to convey my message. So let's take a listen to that all together. This is, again, repeated from this other portion over here, but it almost gives, these chords now give this melody almost a new sort of context. Context is everything when it comes to music, and these two, it's the same line, but it feels somehow different with these chords and this bass line, well, all of these three bass lines, underneath it. I think that's really interesting the way they play together. And obviously this is the bass, well, the sub. I wasn't gonna put a G0 because you wouldn't hear it. Let's do. would just be too low. I almost feel it in my legs. That's weird. Obviously, if you're on phone speakers or not on very high-end audio equipment, you're not going to hear that. Which, I don't mean I have the best audio equipment. I do have I'm rocking a pair of SP5s, Atom Audio SP5s. They're closed-back headphones from, oh, God knows when. It's been a long time since I've had these. And they do go. I do hear G0. But it's not very musical. You don't really hear it, you more so feel it, I guess, if that makes sense. Anyway, enough rant about that. Let's just listen to this. Let's listen to the actual drop, not just the hi-hats. Let's listen to everything right here. Everything this point on. Let's see. Alright. Oops. Okay. Take 1,000,001. Alright, let's go. These are disconnected here. I really don't know why. But I can't go and fix it now. There's already a master out, so... That tiny little detail, it bothers me. And I know that I will never be able to fix it. Because I don't want to alter the final master. Anyway, I'm venting about my problems. Like mixed venting and ranting. Anyway. So, this part, this just opens right here. Simple filter opening. I don't know, is this? Are they two different notes? I can't tell. Whatever, a minor error that only I will ever be able to realize until people watch this video. Which is nobody, because I think I have like 3 subscribers right now. That's okay. It's progress, people. Okay, so we take a look at... I'll just play it. It's... Nothing changes. It goes just the static line from this part is the same as the rest of this part. So it just continues. This stays the same. These 2 chords. It's a minor and that thing right there. I don't know what it is, sorry. Noise riser into just the kick and snare. Well, kick and clap, I guess. If you're on... One thing I will say is if you're on some sort of Bluetooth device, for some reason, these transients are lost. I don't know whether it's like a Bluetooth saving or a Bluetooth battery saving feature, because it's... Sometimes you have a Bluetooth speaker and you play audio, it takes like a split second, like a couple milliseconds, almost like a tenth of a second, to sort of turn on and play that audio. for some reason, when I'm listening to this in my Bluetooth headphones, I have, well, Bluetooth earbuds. I have the Bose Quiet Comfort Ultra 2nd Gen. Yes, I get the latest and greatest. I'm bougie. I use those, and this transient cuts off for some reason. Just the very beginning. Like you'll hear this ramping up, and you'll only hear this part right here. So you're missing the really hard hitting transient of that kick. That's almost it. I don't know what else to talk about with this project. One very interesting thing is I like to keep my my color scheme has always been, well, maybe not always, but for a very long time has been like black, white, gray, really monochromatic colors, if that's the right term for it. And so that's how I organize my projects. Usually people use a lot of colors. I don't find that to be very attractive. If I'm working on something, I'm going to make it as attractive as possible so I can just use it and be comfortable with it, if that makes any sense. If it's full of colors and it's ugly to look at, I'm not going to want to work on it. Period. But also, the way that I order or structure my projects to keep them nice and tidy is the high energy and higher frequencies I will put at the top, and those will be my melodies. You see the main melody, dinky melody, reverse, reverb, melody, the noise riser, then the other noise riser. I feel like I should have classified these as sound effects or pads, which I do a little bit of darker color. Let me see. Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different colors. So maybe not in this project, but let's see, 1, 2, 3. No, I think there's just only like 4 colors. But I structure my projects from highest frequencies to lowest frequencies. Obviously, the higher frequencies will have a lighter color, and the lower frequencies will have a darker color. And the kick drum, clap, shakers, mostly the drums are going to be the darkest color because they have the most energy. Bass being the second lowest or the second darkest color because they have the second highest energy and the second lowest frequencies. So that is a little bit about my project. Let's take a look at yeah, that's I really don't know what's here. Let's check it out. I genuinely do not know what that was. I am sorry for your ears. Okay, so let's take a look at the mastering chain. This is going to be interesting. I will be honest, I don't know how to master. All I did was put a utility here, 0.005. That is because I very quickly go from infinite decibels, all the decibels, well, negative infinite decibels, to 0 dB. It's like a slight ramp up. You go, you shoot it up like that, and it goes into there. So to reduce any popping or clicking of the beginning of the track. It's so small that I'm not sure that it even affects the clicking or popping of the track. But I just put it there for comfort reasons, of peace of mind, I guess you could say. The next thing that I used on my master is the saturator, obviously to drive it a little further, get a little more loudness in it, because the loudness wars are here, and they're not going anywhere. That's what I think. I just keep hearing things that are louder and louder. Anyway, I just put the saturator in the beginning, put it on analog clip, left it, I think it's just stays on analog clip. Didn't touch any of the color settings, I don't think. Nope, didn't touch anything with color. Output, 0. Dry, wet, completely wet. That's how we like our saturators. All wet. Soft clip is on. Glue compressor. So I'm not exactly sure why I put a 1 attack on there. I mean, I know why I put a release to have a somewhat middle release, because it is in the middle. I mean, 0.6 is still a pretty small release time, to be honest. Yeah, I have to get really up close and personal to my screen because I can barely see it. It's the middle of the line attack and release. The ratio is 4. I mean, there's only 3 settings on here. There's the middle child, the golden one. You got makeup gain. Put threshold up to -5 to catch all the stuffs. Makeup gain, a little bit to make up for the threshold. Just the I don't know what you would call it, if you call it the input. I lowered the threshold and I made it up with the makeup gain knob. Range, I'm not really sure. Dry wet, that's completely the signal of the glue compressor. There's nothing of the original track coming through. It's all just completely wet. And last part is here. I put the gain all the way to 0. Actually, it might be at the end. So let's take a look at the knob. Look at 2 different places at one time. Yeah, okay. Well, it should be infinite decibels. Whatever, it's fine. No, it's not. Okay, no, that's correct. Okay, it turns to 0. Complete 0. The last part is just that. So you got the kick and snare, or kick and clap, and to end it off with a bang, you get that part right here. I've done enough rambling. I think this has been an adequate revealing to you of how exactly I did things. Maybe not the best. This is my first video doing this, so bear with me, okay? Okay, that has been a very long video, longer than I anticipated it to be. I didn't think it was going to be 40-something minutes long, but here we are. I hope that you learned something useful, or at the very least, interesting enough to keep watching. Thank you for checking out my breakdown of my first track, Genesis, on my first album called VX. I hope to see you in another video very, very soon.